All right, hi guys. So now we're on part 2 of this lesson, and we are going to still be covering the same objective and the same key points. And you can see them, they are shown here on this screen. So for the second piece, we're going to be concentrating on genes and alleles. So alleles are part of the genes, and we're going to be explaining how this plays a very big role in deciding what our traits look like. Okay, so we already talked about how our puppy got some traits from the mom and from the dad. That was at the end of part 2. So now what we're going to be discussing is the allele piece that is located on the genes that is assisting us to make sure that we understand how they got what they needed. So alleles are different versions of a gene. Some people can have brown, some people can have blue eyes, and this will change. So you can have a family member that has blue eyes, and you can have a family member that has brown eyes, and they can still be in the same family. So then from there, we need to understand what a dominant allele is and what a recessive allele is. So when we're coming to dominant and recessive, dominant means that you are going to see this trait in the individuals. So when we are looking at this and when we're going to start our Punnett squares, which is how we figure out what alleles or what traits the offspring are going to have, we are going to be using a capital letter for the trait. It can be any letter that you so choose. For this example, we're going to be using a big B for brown eyes and a little b for the recessive allele. So the recessive allele means that it's still present, but it's not present as often. And when we get to the Punnett square, I'm going to be explaining to you how you will be able to get one of these recessive genes to show. And you're also going to be having Punnett square practice. So a recessive allele would be represented by a lowercase b, and the recessive allele would be blue eyes. So most common is brown, less common or recessive would be blue. So this is called a genotype. So in our first lesson, we discussed the phenotype. So the phenotype is on the outside, the genotype is on the inside, okay? So remember, the P in phenotype is for physical appearance, the G in genotype is going to be for genetic makeup, which is your alleles. So a person has a combination of alleles. We said one from the mom and one from the dad. And as you can see right here, it is demonstrating right here an allele from the mom and an allele from the dad. So when you're looking at this gene, it's showing you on this side, we have alleles from mom, this side we have alleles from dad. And this is our genetic makeup. From there, we're going to be understanding that it is a combination, right, of each parent, which we've been discussing several times. And the reason that I'm repeating it is because it is very important for you to understand that. So now, when we come to our Punnett squares that we're going to be creating, and you did see a Brain Pop video on what Punnett squares look like and how to create them, you need to understand that there are two different vocabulary words that are extremely important. So the first one is called homogeneous. This is purebred, which means these are going to have the capital letters. This is a purebred dominant gene. And then you have the small letters, which are the lowercase letters, the BB. And this is a homogeneous recessive gene. This means that the gene is in there, but it may not come out depending on how on the mixture of the parents. And then we have our heterogeneous. This is a hybrid. So this is a combination of both of the alleles from both of the parents. So for example, we have here, right, a person that has the same alleles, right? So we have mom who has the phenotype of B, and we have dad who has the phenotype of B. Both of these uppercase or capital B's mean that they have a dominant allele and they are purebred dominant. So of course, because mom has brown eyes and dad has brown eyes, the child is going to have brown eyes. Now, when we look at recessive genes, if mom has blue eyes, which is a lowercase b, and dad has blue eyes, which is a lowercase b, then that means that the child is going to have two recessive genes and you're going to be seeing the blue eyes. Then we come to our hybrid. So our hybrid is when one of the parents has a dominant and one of the parents has a recessive, or the parents are both hybrid. So for example, you have mom, which has a uppercase B, and you have dad, which has a lowercase b. So mom has a dominant allele, dad has a recessive allele. So this child is going to have a uppercase B and a lowercase b. So this will be a hybrid child. On the other end, it's the same concept, but it's flipped. Mom has the lowercase b, as you can see here. Dad has the uppercase B, which you can see here. So our child will have a B, a capital B and a lower b, but they will still be a hybrid. A hybrid means that they will have brown eyes because of the fact that the uppercase, which is dominant, is going to be showing more than the recessive one. So now let's go to our example. So for example, this is the dad of my puppies, and this is his brother. And this is mom, and this is dad. So as you can see, both of these parents have black noses, but this puppy right here has a brown nose, and this puppy right here has a black nose. This one is more brown with no brindle. This one has darker brindle, but only one of the parents had the brindle color. But they did still have the same round head that they got from their mom. So you can see it. So they also have a white chest. This one has a white chest. My dog has a white chest. So they are having some combinations of these genes. Now let's switch to mom. So this is the mom of my mama dog, and this is the dad of my mama dog. As you can see, she is Merle. He is white with brindle, but she is black and white. So it was a combination of these genes and the genes that came before them that made her a seal black and white dog. So we can definitely see that there are other ones. Now let's look at her puppies. So when we're looking at the puppies, there is a combination of puppies. So puppy number 1 is all black and white, right? So we can see here, this is puppy number 1. Remember, she had 11, okay? Then we have puppy number 2. So puppy number 2, look at the big difference between puppy 1 and puppy 2. So puppy 1 is black, big head, black nose. Puppy 2 is brown and white with a brown nose. So even though both of the parents don't have a brown nose, the brother of the dad dog has a brown nose. So we see that this trait came out in the puppies. And then we have a whole different kind of puppy. So here is another one that she had. And you can see he's black spotted instead of all black. And then we have this one, which is brown spotted and has a brown nose. And then we have this crazy girl, and she is a combination of them as well. And as you can see, her eyes, it looks like she has eyeliner on. And her fur is different than the other dogs. Her fur is longer than her siblings' fur. So even though her parents don't have this trait, it did come out. So as you can see, the brother or the uncle of my dog has a brown nose. So I have 2 with brown noses. And then I have this little guy who has black seal and a black nose. And then we have a combination of the two. And there are other ones that are in there that are all this solid brown color on the outside. And there's 11 of them, which is kind of crazy. So as you can see, the traits are passed down from generation to generation, and they're also passed down by different relatives that are from the same litters. So